Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dagger. We are here recording June 25th, 2026, and I'm joined by my co-host Rajan Rao, who people don't care about, and Dylan Payne, who hasn't been here for a few months.
It's been a while.
I think the last pod was March Madness, and I know you've been very busy, so welcome back, Dylan.
That is actually an insanely long time. Happy to be here, guys.
Very happy. And we did pick our March Madness champion, right, 2 years in a row. One of few podcasts that can say that. So you know you're in the right place if you're listening. If you made it this far, which I'm sure most people don't, make sure to follow us on Instagram and X and Spotify and YouTube. Yeah. All right. It's been a very eventful few weeks of sports. And Rajan and I talked about this on our finals recap pod. But in the last week alone, since Monday, there have been a lot of NBA news. Free agency is coming up, and so we're going to see a lot of new contracts and trades in July when the NBA fiscal year resets. But in the meantime, we already have some major action. The Giannis trade saga finally came to a conclusion on Monday night. Effectively Tuesday is when everybody was talking about it. The NBA draft was Tuesday night, the first round, and then Wednesday night was the second round. And so we're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about Giannis. We're going to talk about some other signings like Trae Young and Austin Reeves. And we're going to talk about LaMelo Ball, who was kind of traded out of nowhere this morning. The LaMelo rumors, I think, started yesterday on Wednesday, and by this morning he was already gone. Word on the street is that the Hornets did not shop him super extensively, but they got an offer that they were excited about. And I'll read that offer, and then I'll pass it over to Rajan for the first thoughts. The Wolves received LaMelo Ball and Josh Green, and the Hornets received Naz Reid, who, Timberwolves fans hold very dear to their heart, and so I understand losing a cornerstone like that is very sad. They also got a 2033, first 2033 pick ever traded, by the way. Crazy how close we are to that. And 2033 unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps, and 3 second-round picks. So we can analyze whether the package was worth it or not. But Rajan, I'll let you start. What did you think of the trade when you first saw
it? Initially, I was just kind of in shock because watching the NBA the last few years with LaMelo on the Hornets has just been a lot of exciting basketball. And even though that has not necessarily translated to a lot of wins as a unit and as a team that is not really in a position to be like a title contender, it was still fun watching the LaMelo-led Hornets. And it felt like there was some upwards momentum this year with, getting Antetokounmpo last draft and then some of the people that they drafted this draft. But I also see the appeal for Minnesota. I think I talked maybe 2 pods ago about how I was really sick of watching Julius Randle play. Like, I think I texted that a lot in the group chat too, that watching him play in the final or the playoffs was just grueling for me. Like, it was so selfish. My dad kept pointing it out and was like, I can't stand this guy. And at first he liked Julius Randle, and then we started watching the games and he's like, he doesn't do anything with the team. I have a feeling that there's going to be more chemistry with LaMelo as someone that can also take up the ball, so it's not just Ant doing it all the time. And it gives Ant to be it gives him a chance to be more of a scorer than having to do the playmaking, the scoring, all the hustle stuff in addition to trying to be the leading scorer on a team that's trying to compete. Because the Wolves are not done with their window with Ant as their apex player. So I think this is the right move. I think it's better as a team to have a great point guard like LaMelo, who, for all we know, could flourish into an incredible, even better playmaker and someone that has some kind of championship DNA, or at least, playing for one. So it's kind of where my head's at. I'm kind of high on it.
Right. Dylan, how do you feel from the Timberwolves perspective?
From the Timberwolves perspective, I feel good.
Okay.
I think that the problem with this team has pretty Bro's drinking air. Oh my god.
Nice green screen, buddy.
What do you mean, bro? I always drink air.
Yeah. I think from the Timberwolves perspective.
Sorry.
All right, my
I'll just
bad.
keep laughing next time. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. I think from the Timberwolves' perspective, this is exactly the kind of player that they need. If you look around the
Right.
league, LaMelo Ball. Okay, actually, I'm not going to say exactly the kind of player that they need. I have a lot of thoughts on this trade. I think that no matter what your thoughts on LaMelo Ball is, when he is playing at his best and when he is under control, which does not always happen, but when it does, he is easily a top 10 facilitator in the league. Ant, especially deep in these playoff runs, has shown that when he has to be the primary ball handler and facilitator for this team, it is exhausting for him. The fatigue and the miles that puts on him, especially as you go later and later into the playoffs, like the T-Wolves are hoping to do, is just something that has not so far been sustainable for him being the kind of scorer that he needs to be. I think that it will be very, very good for a couple of their additions. I really liked their pickup in the second round of Isaiah Evans. I think that he is a pretty immediate plug and play guy, and you just park him in a corner and expect him to make maybe two or three threes in a crucial game that could swing the game. I think that he has a lot of work to go defensively, but anyway, I think that it's honestly a insane move to make, pairing LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards together, possibly I can't say this word on the podcast, but possibly two of the most screw you, I am going to do my own thing, I am going to make absolutely terrible decisions based solely on my irrational confidence that I am the best player on the basketball court
in the
world. Like, this is going to be either a PR nightmare or a TikTok miracle. The edits that is going to come from this combination are going to be really, really funny. And I also think that to an extent it will help Rudy Gobert as well, not defensively. I feel bad for the amount of strain that's going to be on him defensively now without Naz Reid. You're expecting a lot from Jaden McDaniels to be able to guard basically a size up without Naz Reid. But offensively, Rudy Gobert has always kind of struggled. His really only threat is being a lob guy or getting an offensive rebound and being in a prime position to put it back up for a putback as long as it's not contested. But having a guy like LaMelo opens up a lot of opportunities for your offense, which is honestly why I'm so confused about this from the Charlotte perspective. But I'll let you get to that first, Ramsey.
Absolutely. Two things I was going to say. One, a lot of people have pointed out that this is probably a nightmare for the Timberwolves PR team. It's also a nightmare for the streets of Minnesota and Minneapolis and people who want to afford car insurance. So
I saw a really good one. You guys remember the whole Rudy Gobert COVID thing, right?
Of course. The first one to cough on the mic.
Yeah. I've seen.
Oh yeah, he was touching the table.
Yeah, he was like, "How am I gonna get it?" No.
I've seen COVID test, paternity test, and driving test as the name of the trio, and that was already a pretty solid one for day one.
That's really
I'm sure
good.
that we'll get better ones too with the duo of Ant and also we can't forget that Anthony Edwards went to the University of Georgia. Very, very relevant when talking about car crashes, DUIs, just general like car related crimes.
Ant might be able to get all three of those test names pretty soon.
Yeah,
I feel like he would do something reckless with some kind of disease, and then he's already 3 for 3 because we don't actually want to know what his paternity test record is like. I don't want to talk about that.
Exactly. One interesting thing that I forgot about until a few hours afterwards was that this is the 2020 NBA draft. The first and second overall pick are now playing with each other. I don't know if you were following the draft that closely, Dylan, back then. I was much more casual about it. I didn't know anything about the players. But at the top, like the Timberwolves almost drafted LaMelo. And I'm sure that the Hornets with the second pick would have drafted Ant if he had fell. And so I don't know the last time that two recent top two picks played with each other. I think the closest we have right now is Ayton and Luka, who were first and third playing on the Lakers. But it is very interesting, I think, from the Timberwolves. I think that they should be excited about it. I understand why T-Wolves fans are sad about Naz Reid leaving. But with Naz now gone, as well as Randall being salary dumped essentially and DiVincenzo out for the year, the T-Wolves were entering this like kind of a dead man walking. I mean, there was nothing to be excited about for this season. They almost were going to treat it as a gap year, but they bought in. And I mentioned the draft year because LaMelo is perfectly on their timetable. Like, if he's not the same age as Ant, he's got to be close. And he has a contract that has him locked up for multiple years, at least the next 3. And then after that, he's an unrestricted free agent. And yeah, I think Ant will benefit the most from a playmaking point guard and a scoring point guard who can draw some of the attention of double teams from him. Now, they do have great new player, Ayo Dosunmu, who they just signed to a contract extension. And his purpose, most people figured, was to do that. As well as McDaniels has improved his offense greatly in recent years. And McDaniels and Gobert, as well as Ant, are all players that can hide LaMelo, I think, well enough on the defensive end. And he's not like a 100% liability defensively, but he's not great. But yeah, I am excited for the T-Wolves. Like, I think that this firmly makes them the 3rd best team in the West. I was telling you, Rajan, like, it's a little unrealistic to, like, pick this team over the Thunder or Spurs in a series where everyone is healthy. But in any given, like, 2-week window, if some player is injured, like J-Dub was, or you have, like, Stephon Castle out, like, this team is good enough to steal a series from them. Right. And put themselves in the contention area. And they've been very good for years. And so this is probably a net upgrade.
And especially because LaMelo is also so young. LaMelo is 24, and so is Ant. And so, like yeah, that's what that's where my head was at yesterday was if both teams are healthy and all things are normal, for whatever that means. You can't even see my fingers. Normal. In the league, obviously, we're taking OKC over them. We're taking San Antonio for sure. You could even make an argument for the Lakers if they tighten their stuff up and, they find their depth and whatnot. Maybe that's a 50-50 shot. But yeah, any given night, if LaMelo's on a heater, if Ant's on a heater, there's a legitimate chance, because they're such prolific scorers, there's always a chance that there's something explosive can happen. And especially if one of the teams, which could very well have an injury, right? Like, we don't know what Wemby's health is going to look like next year. We don't know how they're going to manage his minutes in terms of his energy and how fatigued he is at end of games, which is definitely a problem in this finals and in the Western Conference Finals, in the games that the Spurs lost. Yeah, there's a lot of potential here. And I almost wonder, like, when DiVincenzo comes back, if they draft a big man to kind of replace Gobert or someone in the 4-ish area, 3, 4, 5, that kind of range, maybe they start being able to contend with the Spurs and OKC on a more serious level. So
it's certainly possible. Their roster, as currently constructed, is pretty interesting. They have this guy, Juan Berenjay, who was drafted last year and is supposed to be their center of the future. He was another, like, tall French center, exactly like Gobert, who they drafted to back him up. And so I think he'll get real minutes this season off the bench. You have Kyle Anderson, Terrence Shannon Jr., Mike Conley, maybe. I don't know if he's under contract, but maybe he can talk some sense into LaMelo. That sounds like a comedy right there. And then guys who have played real minutes for them, like Jalen Clark and Isaiah Evans, who I think you mentioned, Dylan. I guess we'll find out about the minutes from him. But yeah, I would be excited if I was a T-Wolves fan. I would look forward to this season more, and I definitely would miss Reed. I feel like that was like when the Celtics lost Marcus Smart, but looking back, I still would have done that every time. And I agree, Rajan, like, this definitely, even though they don't have many picks now to play around with, they still have some room salary-wise, and I think they might have 1 pick left. And so they will be in contention for years if they keep this duo together. At least they have now like a 2-year window to test this and then see if they want to do more of it. But any other thoughts on the Timberwolves perspective? Okay, so let's talk about the Hornets. They gave up on LaMelo and traded him right now. And as I said, they received Naz Reid, who's been great and who was getting ready to step into the starting role in Minnesota. Now he will likely be starting for the Hornets, and we can talk about the roster in a sec. And they received 1 first-round pick and 3 swaps. And I don't know if you guys agree with me, guys, but the Timberwolves are going to be much better than the Hornets are, likely, for the next 3-4 years. And so those swaps are meaningless. And the second-round picks, not much. And so it's almost 1 first-round pick and Naz Reid in a couple seconds. And so LaMelo, I think, had his best season of his career this past year, mostly because he played 72 games. He also played a lot in his sophomore year when he was an all-star, but he was close to being an all-star this year. And so, yeah, Dylan, what do you think? Do you think the Hornets sold high, or do you not take that stance?
I don't take that stance, and I'm just not really sure. Actually, I'll start by giving them the benefit of the doubt. All
Sure.
right. In
Go
the
ahead.
best possible scenario, the Hornets ownership group identified that LaMelo just had a very, very good season, that he played 72 games, significantly more than he has been able to string together in his career, producing at the level that he was producing at. He has had a history of pretty significant injuries. Maybe
the previous 3 years were 36, 22, 47.
There you go. So for the majority of the last 4 years, he has not been healthy enough to make it through an entire season. Now, how much of that was tanking related, we will never know. But again, giving them the benefit of the doubt, you have a player who has consistent injury issues, who is supposed to be the main engine of your offense, your primary ball handler, the facilitator for your team. So the thought process is sell high. You have a nice young core. They have a lot of time left to develop before they are in any position to win anything of substance. Sure. Is Naz Reid selling high? Is Naz Reid and 1 first-round pick? Like you said, this is the first 2033 first-round pick ever traded. It's 2026. I just... Con Knippel will be on the aging end of his career by the time that pick comes to fruition. He just entered the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess just not aging. That makes a lot of assumptions about his
career. He's close
to
30 at that point. There's that pick doesn't actually mean anything. The Timberwolves could very easily make a championship run in the next 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely.
And then decide to trade. Maybe they trade Ant for that pick back, and then they're good. I don't know. I don't
understand why, with everything that LaMelo has put this franchise through. I mean, he is a frustrating player to watch. He does not play if I'm a coach, I would have a stroke trying to coach him, because he does not play the kind of basketball that most people expect from professionals in a league where this is a business. He has antics. He has off the court stuff. You stick with him through all of that, and you give up on him now that you've finally seen the vision of what this could potentially come. Arguably one of the best 6 teams in the league post All-Star break.
Right.
I mean, you would at least have to put them in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
actually, I already had that pulled up. I just wanted to say that post All-Star break, the Hornets had the second best offensive rating and second best net rating in the entire NBA, behind the Spurs.
So behind the team that made the finals.
Absolutely.
And ahead of the team that won the finals.
Awesome.
Yeah, ahead of them.
Yeah, that's that. So, and look, if he was a prolific scorer but a secondary option, if he was somebody that you could feasibly swap somebody else into his place and not see significant drops in production from the entire team, sure. LaMelo is the engine that makes that team run. Are you expecting a rookie going into his sophomore year, Con Knippel, to be the primary on-ball scorer for this team? Are you expecting Brandon Miller? Are you expecting
Miles Bridges?
Kobe? Yeah, Miles Bridges. All of these players are phenomenal players. in complement to what LaMelo is able to create for them. All of the action stems from him. And if you look at a lot of the advanced statistics, I was watching some videos on it. Kenny does a great short summary on the trade. He was talking about their plus minus with LaMelo on the court and without LaMelo on the court. They're a significantly better defensive team without him on the court. I think that's just a very easy assumption to make. They are one of the best two offenses in the league with him on the court. They are a below average offense with him off the court. That is the impact that he has had across the entire season. So you remove the engine of your entire team in the most successful run that they've had probably since the early 2000s or the 90s. And then you go and trade for a good player, but not a franchise-altering player in Naz Reid, and a pick that we will be like well into, at least for all three of us, our careers, the starting to get into the earlier to mid stages of our adulthood before we even see it. Like, it's just, they blew it up. They had something phenomenal and they took it and they blew it up. And I don't know why, and I have reasons that I might think why, but I would need to put on my tinfoil hat for that. But what did you guys think about this from the perspective of the Hornets?
I completely agree that LaMelo was the offensive engine that made them so good, and he's why Contextualize was in Rookie of the Year talks all season, when he definitively is not as complete of a player as Cooper Flag, but the type of looks that he was getting and possessions that he was being able to create, with in addition to LaMelo being on the court, made him so good. And Brandon Miller had a meteoric rise as well. I just pulled up the on-off numbers, like you mentioned, for that trio who many Hornets fans were considering their future. It features all 8 combinations of when someone's on or someone's off. And so the three of them on the court together were a plus 17 offensively. I was just looking at the offense, but I'll look at the net actually. So they were plus 15 net with all of them together. Of course, their big three who played the most minutes together. And when only LaMelo was on the court, they were still a plus 10.7, which is an incredible NBA team. As I mentioned, the net rating rankings, that would rank, well, that's pretty much exactly where they were as a complete team. But every other combination that either didn't feature LaMelo or did were all lower than that. And so LaMelo himself was the reason why they were able to go so far, I think, and have such a successful season. Not the only reason, of course, but they had great performances from Diabate, Kobe White. But it is crazy to give up on him and not get that great of a return. Like, when I saw this, I was excited by the picks without realizing that they were all swaps. And so I just don't think that this is good enough for a player of LaMelo's caliber, who's, by the way, getting paid, I think, like the 45th or so highest salary in the NBA, when he's about like at least a top 20 player, probably like all NBA caliber and the right fit. So do you agree with that, Rajan?
Yeah, if the picks were not swaps and if it was actually 28, 29, and 30 as a first round thing, then that makes it okay. Yes, they are blowing it up, but there's a plan. And the plan is first round draft picks in those years coming up. And so now Naz Reid is like, I don't know, some kind of mentor to Contextualize. He lets him develop. They build some chemistry. They draft some good players. And all of a sudden, in 3 or 4 years down the line, this is a playoff contention team where it's been drafted by them, and their GM and their management has put themselves into a situation where they can grow like a homegrown team that's not built off trades and signings. Kind of like how we've seen the Spurs and the Thunder kind of assemble themselves in the last couple of years. I just don't know what you're getting back. Naz Reid is not old, but he's aging in comparison to where LaMelo was. I'm pretty sure there's no way that they're the same age. And you've now knocked yourself from a potential play-in, maybe 7th, 8th seed playoff team that could go on a dark horse run if one of your young guys gets hot, to a weird hodgepodge of like veterans and then like super young players who haven't had time to develop yet. And you're in like that purgatory zone. Ramsey said, you said it well. You said dead man's zone, dead man walking, something like that. It's some kind of weird in between where you're not quite good enough to actually make a run, but you're also you're out of the tanking zone. Like you're not that bad.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Right.
Reed, by the way, is quite young. He's 26, so he's like
Okay.
only a couple of years older, but he's entering his prime. But still, what we've seen from him is not as good as what LaMelo has shown years before him.
Do you think that they view as? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you think they view Nas as like the next cornerstone?
A cornerstone. I mean, like
I don't know how that could. Yeah.
He's like their fourth best player now, I think.
So he's like the same role that he was in the Timberwolves. He was like the fourth or fifth best guy there.
Well, he was actually like leading sixth man of the year voting a lot of years, and so I think he won. But yeah, now we have him on the Hornets, and I don't even know necessarily if he should start because you have Moussa Diabate, you have Miles Bridges, you have Hannes Steinbach, who probably should get more minutes than Reed for their future outlook. And yeah, I'm not sure. Dylan,
yeah, I'm really trying to grab
it,
but I can't.
It's not a 1-to-1 comparison. To be clear,
of course,
I am not comparing LaMelo Ball to Steph Curry when I say this.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
So we're gonna say
LeVar. He sounds like LeVar. Oh my god,
bro!
Lonzo or Steph Curry right now? Lonzo all day.
Didn't LeVar just like go through a divorce or something like that? I saw something like that. His wife left
him.
Yeah, that was sad.
Post stroke.
Yeah, that was sad
what?
stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember when his wife had a stroke?
I remember that, but I didn't know that.
He was there. I mean, again, I'm not defending LeVar. I don't know what he gets up to in his life. He said he already found someone new, so maybe I don't know what happened. But LeVar's wife had like a stroke right around when Lonzo got drafted, or maybe right before or after. I'm not sure when. But he was with her the whole time, and they were like a blueprint for like a couple staying together through hardship. I don't know. It's also LeVar Ball.
Yeah,
got it.
But so Steph very early on in his career showed pretty, like obvious signs of promise. He was second in Rookie of the Year voting. He averaged just under 18 points his first year, slightly over 18 points his second year. Took a small step back in his third year. His third year, he had a huge injury with the ankle and the foot stuff started popping up. And there were a lot of thoughts after that season, before that season, during that season, about whether or not, small guard, very clearly injury prone. He had dealt with something with the foot and the ankle in college as well. And there were real thoughts about moving on from him. Because at the time, if you guys remember, they also had Monte Ellis. And Monte Ellis was also appeared to be, a very incredibly talented young guard. He was far more athletic than Curry was. At the time, he was viewed as the safer bet. The Warriors end up like this would be like the Warriors trading Curry at that point in time. Granted, it was his third year in the league, but if you look at what he did in the subsequent year, he averaged just shy of 23 points and was 11th in MVP voting. The following year, his fifth year in the league, so right around the same timetable where we are with LaMelo right now, he finished 6th in MVP voting, and he was named an All-Star for the first time. Like, that would be like if the Warriors finally saw signs that Steph Curry was able to play consistently at a healthy level and be an all-star and the kind of player that their team needs to be able to win a championship, and then they traded him like right before all of that incredible stuff happened. I'm not saying that any of that would have happened for the Charlotte Hornets. Just as a logical comparison, you have this player who you have waited to see if he could be the guy. He finally showed you something in no small way that there's a real chance that he could be the guy for you. He powers your team to one of the most exciting stories of the entire NBA season. There is a very real path forward with a very talented young core and enough capital to be able to make moves on top of that. Like, I believe they were still under Were they still under the first apron? Do you know?
Ooh, I'll check for you. But yeah.
But either way, it's not like they were in a dire situation financially. I mean, a majority of their production is very young. And you go and you blow it up now for what? Tinfoil hat time.
Okay.
Charlotte, historically, the ownership of Charlotte is very frugal. They do not spend money. And that is one of the reasons why they have historically been a garbage franchise. The Michael Jordan years were a disaster. Before that, I forget who it was before that, but he was also known as, somebody who was not going to spend money to build an effective team. Now this new ownership group comes in, I want to say like a couple or 2 or 3 years ago. Let me see.
Yeah.
I had this looked up. Yeah, 2023 to present. A hedge fund manager, and then one of the Atlanta Hawks minority owners. Which also, isn't it kind of crazy that you can have a minority owner in another team?
I was about to say,
a majority
is he still
stake?
currently the Hawks guy?
Yeah, he's still a minority owner in the Hawks. Isn't that kind of crazy?
That's the most conflict of interest.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
My eyes had to read over it twice when I saw it. So you have a guy who doesn't necessarily have a relation to basketball. And to their credit, they have been putting money into the team thus far. They had a multi-year, multi-million-dollar renovation of the Spectrum Center to modernize the area and everything like that.
Nice stadium, by the way. We saw the Gators there. Remember?
Very nice stadium. I enjoyed my time there. But still, to me, there is zero other reason that this trade makes sense other than the fact that they looked at the East and they looked at the West and they said, we're not competing with the Knicks and we're not competing with any of the teams out West.
Right.
They don't feel, based on the current timeline of their players, sure, maybe you wait it out and maybe they develop at a time when things calm down in the West and when, the Knicks run is over. But they see all of these young stars. They're going to have to give Khan a rookie extension. They are going to have to pay that man. They're going to have to pay Brandon Miller. They're more than likely going to have to pay, or they did have to pay Kobe White. And they saw that, and they saw a justifiable way. Oh, he's injury prone. He's not disciplined. He doesn't mesh well with the team. They saw a way to move off of a guy who they owed a lot of money. And they didn't want to pay a lot of money. I think that this is absolutely a cap move by the front office. I just don't think that they wanted to fork over money to, over first apron, hell, maybe even over second apron levels, depending on how much it takes to keep this core together, when they see no legitimate shot to win the East in the next 3 to 4 years, or the championship for that matter in the next 3 to 4 years. And I think that is the dumbest, most, against the purpose, completely contrary to the reason that we all watch and enjoy this sport level of management ever. If that is the purpose, I hope Pablo Torre finds something, anything, where they're just like, we don't want to pay him. We want to pack it in so that ownership group can be thrown out of town. Because other than that, there is zero justification in my head in which this trade makes sense, unless they have an ungodly level of belief in Kobe White, or their only knowledge about Nas Reed was from Instagram, and they see everybody calling him Nas Reed, and they think that he's some superstar. Because it just doesn't make sense otherwise.
And also to that point, the question now becomes, okay, if you're a team in the NBA, there's 3 buckets that you fall into, maybe 4. And they go like this. 1 is championship contenders. 2 is consistently playoff teams. 3 is kind of fringe, play-in, whatever. 4 is your tanking. And if you're in a management group or you're a coach, if you're in 1 or 4, your job is safe, generally speaking. Because if you're tanking and the fan base knows that you're tanking, there's not as much pressure. Well, the plan is to tank. Just give us some time and some picks and we'll get there. This now firmly takes them out of the second group and moves them into the worst possible situation for the ownership group in terms of keeping their jobs. because now there's no surefire. They're clearly not tanking. There's no indication.
Right?
If they were tanking,
They
they
don't
would be getting
have that
picks.
excuse anymore.
No, they do not have the excuse anymore.
I think that the Hornets were firmly in tier 3, and then this season played their way into tier 2, and now they just convinced themselves out of it for no reason, right?
And again, if the management group is trying their best to not only create for the fans, obviously most management groups don't care about that. They're trying to make a profit. Mm-hmm. If they're trying to keep their jobs, if they're trying to do anything productive, like this is like making their seat hot. We should do like an episode where we talk about the management groups and who's on the hot seat. They are like on the hot seat right now.
Oh, the bad managers conference. That could be us. We could pioneer that.
I'm so down because it's been since 2016 since they made the playoffs.
Yeah. So looking at their record, like, okay, I understand that for most NBA franchises, the kind of purgatory zone of good but not good enough is not an ideal situation to be in. Like if you're the Warriors, if you are the Knicks,
Bulls.
if you are the
it got better recently.
Yeah,
you mean like better than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you are the hell,
Hawks?
even if you're if you're the Hawks, if you are the Cavs, I guess they just made the conference finals, but they were there for a while.
All right, sure.
Then I understand making moves like that. This is the Charlotte Hornets record going back to hell. Where do I even want to go back to? Let's go back to 2012, just because I feel like it.
I got it all day.
19-63, 21-61, 27-55. 2021, 2022, they were 43-39. Actually, not a bad season for them. 33-39, 23-42, 39-43, 36-46, 36-46, 48-34. Probably their best season in the last 20 years. In 2015, 2016. 33-49. Yes. 33-49, 43-39, 21-61, 7-59.
That season is historic, yeah.
Yes. Everybody remembers the 2011-2012 Charlotte Bobcats season. I apologize for mislabeling them. If I am a Charlotte Hornets fan, mediocrity has to feel like winning a championship. Like if you just let this lineup play out next year, they're probably are guaranteed at least somewhere between 50 and 56 wins.
Yeah. I was actually about to ask. I'm looking at the East right now. Like, again, the Hornets finished 9th in the standings, but they were 2 games away from 5th. Yeah. And I really don't think that there are many teams that were firmly better than them. I'll start listing them. If they were to keep LaMelo next year, they probably wouldn't be better than the Celtics, Knicks, Pistons, Cavs.
And I'll put the Pacers there as well with Howie
Pacers
back and Zubac.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that Hornets team could be better than the Raptors, than the Hawks, than the Sixers, than the Magic, who should be better than the Hornets, but clearly we're not.
That's a different conversation to have.
Yeah, very, very different. Better than the Heat, who we'll talk about in a second, but there's no way that this Hornets team wouldn't have been worse than whatever the Heat have with Giannis now. But
right. True.
Yeah, if you're a Hornets fan, like you said, Dylan, and you were so excited about this future, and then just to have it stripped away from you just to, I don't know, save a bit of money. Like I mentioned earlier, LaMelo is the 42nd highest paid player in the NBA. He's making $40.7 million this coming season. Less than the following players. First of all, he's making almost the same contract as Shea. So that shows how well Shea is paid from the Thunder perspective. But he's making less money than Michael Porter Jr., than Franz Wagner, than Ja and Zion, than Domantas Sabonis, than Zach LaVine, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young, who we'll talk about later, De'Aaron Fox, Paul George, Joel Embiid.
We really have to revisit sometime at the end of the summer worst contracts.
Yeah. We need to re-rank some of this. The last 3 were egregious. Like,
De'Aaron Fox
Well, Joel
is so
Embiid-
nasty.
Joel Embiid is the second highest paid player in the league, and Anthony Davis is fourth. Like, they don't play games. They don't play. What are you paying them for?
They're great teammates, Ramsey.
So, like, I don't. For Hornets fans, I think that you guys will make the playoffs. You guys do
Why are you
own.
lying to them? No, they're not.
I'm trying to give them hope.
No, they okay. First off, like I would not shoe them in for the playoffs right now.
Mm-mm.
With the roster
think
that
they'll
they
make it?
have. No.
Nas, Reed.
This-
No.
I think that they have I would give them 60-40 odds at the play-in. Or 70-40 odds at the play-in.
70-40?
70-30. Oh my god, long night. Sorry,
We're
guys.
changing the game.
This roster is better than the Sixers. I would claim that. I'm not like
Yo,
I'm not even that
we're
worried
calling
about
for
that.
your removal
I don't know.
to the dagger, buddy. This is that's egregious. You can't say that.
I understand that the aggregate looks very good right now, but I don't think that we can overstate just how bad losing him is going to have an effect on every single player on that roster.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're like respectfully, Kobe White is a phenomenal player, but he is not going to draw the defensive attention that LaMelo Ball did, and that's going to close windows. Huh?
Oh, sorry. You can finish
Sure.
about Kobe
It's going to
White,
close windows for Khan. It's going to close windows for Miller. Like it just life will be harder on them now.
Do you have any? I know that you watched a lot of like Big 12 basketball. So do you have any thoughts on Christian Anderson? Who they
I
drafted?
really like Christian Anderson. Really, really incredible, tough shot maker. Actually, I think that he would have fit in incredibly well with the team exactly as they existed previously. As kind of a spark plug to bring off the bench. He's a great 3-point shooter. He is pretty tall for a guard. He's a decent facilitator. He can kind of do it all. Like he was really, really good at Texas Tech. Actually, we watched him when we went to the NCAA tournament. They played against Hofstra. And Texas Tech's main star, JT Toppin, had a season-ending injury. He was a Player of the Year candidate, and Christian Anderson was kind of like the second in command. And I think he had to have dropped like 30 in that game against Hofstra. Let me look it up. But very capable shooter. Very, very capable shooter. Texas Tech versus Hofstra.
But the point is that the gravitas that LaMelo Ball has is too big to understate when it comes to generating.
I mean, the on-off stats demonstrate it. I don't know like how much of this team can be pieced back together.
Akron.
They were the 3 seed, right? I don't know how much of this team can be pieced together with Kobe White and Christian Anderson, and then you have like Miller and Khan maybe doing more ball handling. Like they have a really good coach, Charles Lee, who was an assistant for the Celtics and who could have been coach of the year this past year.
Okay, sorry.
That's the guy. And as I said, I still have hopes for them. We'll do plenty of NBA like preview, speculation and predict their future, but it's not as bright as it was yesterday. I think we can all agree on that.
You guys have watched more Hornets ball than I have, but is Khan someone that, like, if LaMelo's gone, and honestly, in LaMelo's entire career, including his high school career and in Lithuania, he was like definitely someone that you could see as your like number one scorer. Like it's clearly one, like number one. It's not 1A, 1B, it's one. And then everything else is an afterthought. I mean, not necessarily when Lonzo was on his high school, but you get my point. Is Khan someone that can step into that role in year 2? Like, is that like no, right?
It's actually funny because Dylan was making the Steph Curry comparison. In the draft process and all season, Khan was very clearly the next Clay. Firmly the next Clay, because he's such an incredibly fast catch and shoot 3-point shooter, and he shot at one of the best clips in the entire league. I think he made the most threes in the NBA this season, if I remember right, as a rookie. And if he improves his defense enough, then he could be like prime Clay, I think, is kind of the best version of him. And Clay can't be the best player on a championship team, but he can very obviously be the second best. So taking away, I'm not going to call LaMelo Curry because, yeah, that was a bit much. But taking away that, whatever they had there, like, it's going to make Con worse, I think. Like,
yeah,
it has to. So
it either will define him as the number 2 guy on whatever team he ends up playing on, or maybe it gives him a chance over the next couple of years to develop into somebody that we could see lead a team. But it's not going to be immediate. There's no way. But it's also not going to be delayed enough for the 2033 number 1 or first round pick to actually matter. Like if we were seeing the beginning of Con blossom and like they had like a 2029 first round pick they got from this trade, then it's like, okay, salvageable, because now you're giving time to this guy who clearly has a lot of potential as a 3-point shooter. But 2033, yeah, like Dylan said, I'm going to be pushing 30. Ramsey's going to be pushing 30.
You think Adam Silver is paying the Hornets to see how much fans are willing to take before they give up? Do you think that the Hornets are a social experiment?
We need to fire Adam Silver.
There are teams that have it a lot worse than the Hornets. I'll say that. Like
bar for bar, over the last 20 years, I'm not sure I agree.
In terms of boneheaded decisions too.
Like,
did we?
Are you sure? Like, we had this conversation over text. Would you really rather be a Hornets fan than a Kings fan? You know, or like,
yeah, but the Kings had the light the beam year. You know. Actually, they had the light the beam years. Are they over now? Absolutely. Would I rather be a Kings fan right now? No, obviously not.
No.
But I'm saying, like, if you were to be placed 20 years ago today, you knew exactly everything that was going to happen in the next 20 years. Actually, that's too far back. Let's just go back to 2012.
You sure?
Would you rather be a Kings fan or a Hornets fan? I feel like you could make arguments for either. I mean, Kemba Walker was fun.
Yeah, and they had him and Al Jefferson. I mean, who knows? Like, we're trash versus garbage. You know, like, this doesn't even matter. This conversation
but they also had, like, we also witnessed the Kings' DeMar DeRozan kind of fun years, and then also the De'Aaron Fox freeform locks. When he had hair, he was great. He was awesome.
Yeah. Or Young Hallie, you know.
Sabonis.
Like, there were some fun Kings teams for a minute there. And the light the beam thing was great.
All right, guys. Any closing thoughts on LaMelo's to the Timberwolves?
We've said what needs to be said.
Let's give grades. For the Timberwolves, you can say a plus or minus. I would say like B plus. What do you guys think?
I was going to say it's B plus as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd give it a B plus. Heck, I might even give it an A minus just because of how little they truly gave up in the grand scheme of what they could gain.
Right. True. For sure. It's a significant upgrade. And from the Hornets' perspective, I think our hive mind here has like talked us all down from what we probably would have said earlier. But Dylan, what do you think? If you would agree.
D.
I was gonna go D plus.
I'll go C minus to be a bit more friendly, but I agree. Like, we can meet in the middle of D plus. It's not exciting, so
take that.
Okay, next we're going to talk about the Giannis trade. Dylan, do you have to leave now? Oh my goodness, you're right.
The Bobby Portis trade.
I spent so long hyping that up. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I do have to go, but I'm really glad to see a scorer the kind of quality of Kobe Bryant get a reasonable second option again in Giannis.
Exactly.
I think that I'm very excited to watch what the next Kobe Shaq duo in the NBA can do. Bam, of course, being Kobe Bryant.
Bam Kobe, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
Thank you for providing your thoughts, Dylan. Rajan, I got it.
It was very enjoyable hearing you talk about the Hornets. That made my night.
It's been great, guys. I'm really excited to see what LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards do. Maybe like when they touch each other, like it'll be like a super collision, and the world will explode, or they'll just get in trouble or arrested or some combination of the three.
All of the above.
Hmm.
Thank you,
right,
Dylan.
fellas,
We'll
have
have
a
you
great
on
night.
again soon.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Have a great night, guys.
And we'll be taking a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to begin talking about the Bobby Portis trade on Monday night. Breaking news from Shams Charania. The literal years of Giannis trade rumors are finally put to rest. And Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis, and not the Thanasis, by the way. So what's the deal with that? The league's got to investigate that. There's something wrong. Unless he just signs like I don't know, like
a two-way or something.
Yeah, something with the Heat. And the Milwaukee Bucks in return get Tyler Hero, Wisconsin native. I think famously he actually almost went to Wisconsin to play basketball, and then he decommitted, and the entire state hated him, and so now he has to go right back. I'm sure that they're okay with him now. Kel'el Ware, young up and coming center. Jaime Jaquez, who finished second in Sixth Man of the Year voting this year. Kasparis Yakochonis, who is a rookie and had a decent, I would say, rookie season. He was probably like the 15th-ish best rookie. And so he's effectively a first-round pick. That's what I like to say. They also received 3 first-round picks, real first-round picks, unlike the Hornets, 1 pick swap, and 1 second. So obviously this package was much better than what the Hornets got, and we're not comparing them at all. But yeah, we're going to talk about 2 things first. First, we should talk about the team that received the star. So let's talk about the Heat.
Yeah.
Rajan, how do you feel about this trade for them?
It's definitely a net plus because even though we can go into semantics about, well, they don't have a roster anymore and their bench is empty, and we obviously have seen that a great bench is the key to winning championships in the NBA. If we're just looking at it from a bird's eye view, obviously the Heat with Giannis and without those guys is going to be much better than the Heat with those guys and without Giannis. And so just from a straight wins perspective, we have to just go empirically off of what we can say will happen. And I think it's almost impossible to say that the Heat will win less with Giannis. So from strictly that perspective, that's not bad. They're going to go, they were a 43-win team last season. I firmly believe that they'll get at least to 50 with Giannis there. Because
yeah, that's hopeful. I think that they'll be higher in the standings, but 50 is a pretty hard benchmark to get sometimes. So
you think so?
I got penciled in at 47, honestly.
I don't know,
but,
Ramsey.
Hey, you can disagree with me for sure.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, right? I have the standings pulled up right now of what everyone finished, last year. I think that them with Giannis is better than the Raptors and better than the Hawks, and both of those teams finished with 46 wins. And I don't think that they're just one game better. I would argue that maybe 49 is the number. Maybe that's the number where it's in between, because then that's evenly between the Raptors and Hawks, and then the Cavs separating the top 4 of the East with everybody else. Maybe that's the number. So maybe we agree high 40s, but definitely an improvement. And so from that standpoint, we have to say they are better off with Giannis than without. But we can get into the other stuff later, because I do agree that some of the bench stuff is going to be a little bit fishy.
Their starting lineup looks like Davion Mitchell, not Donovan. Davion, who is a excellent defender and has been in the league for a few years. I believe he was on the Kings. Very scrappy player, perfect for Heat culture, which I hate. Then you got Andrew Wiggins, your boy. You got Norman Powell, who is not currently signed with them. His contract is up. But now they desperately need 3-point shooting. And so if they lose him, they're have to, I don't know, completely.
But he's expected to sign back with them, right? Or sign an extension, right?
I absolutely think so. But if they get a little too cheap, he's out the door. So they got to be careful.
Yeah.
And then Giannis and Bam playing the 4 and 5. I imagine Bam plays center most of the time, but you had mentioned this, that he's been shooting more threes recently. He's not a great 3-point shooter by any means, but He does not play the same role as Giannis does at all, and so Giannis is like this rim runner, powerful like offensive engine, and Bam is much better as a secondary option, as we saw with him and Jimmy Butler in 2 different finals. And so the bench is limited right now. Their best bench options are Pele Larson, Drew Smith. I don't know if you've heard of either of those guys, and Bobby Portis, who they got. And so
The GOAT.
it's kind of that.
I think that it's the role thing will be cool because obviously we know like Bam is definitely a center in terms of how he plays the game, and the 3-point shooting thing has only been in the last 2 or so years. And again, his percentage is not that high. He's shooting at like 32.3% from deep. It's not like he's a high clip shooter.
Pretty average.
Well, yeah, it's fine for a big man. And again, when we're talking about how well Bam played as a second option, that was with a guard forward who can score at all 3 levels, right? Like Jimmy can posterize you, get some middies up, and then also shoot from deep. In terms of stretching the floor to not overcrowd the paint, I think that the 3-point shooting thing will have to become a thing because clearly he's going to be the number 2 option. And especially with how much of a gravity, I'd say this about LaMelo as well, but about how much of a gravity Giannis has when he's driving, having 3-point shooters, like you mentioned, re-signing Norman Powell is imperative to them. And then in the same vein, having Bam be on the wings and utilizing him as in that way against matchups with centers will create hopefully some sort of mismatch because someone's going to have to close out on him. And that probably means that there's not someone super tall guarding Giannis down low. So hopefully that's the trade-off that they make. I don't know.
I absolutely agree. I think that there's a lot left to be desired with the shooting, and no NBA franchise can be a competent contender without at least several great 3-point shooters. And so that's clearly what the Heat are missing. It's not too complicated. And I think Wiggins and Powell are good for their position, and then Mitchell is like, But if they get some help off the bench and sign some quality players, it should be good for them. I would say at a macro level, looking back, the Heat for literal years have always been so close to signing big stars. Like, as we know, in the days of KD leaving the Nets to go to the Suns, the Heat were like literally right there on his list. It was, I believe it was public, and everybody was very excited about that, and he didn't choose to go there. And then around a similar time frame, Dame leaving the Blazers, it was almost I think that the leading contender was the Heat, and then he signed with the Bucks, and now the Heat end up with the Giannis, Dame's former teammate, and if I were a Heat fan, I would be very excited. You mentioned the tiers of contention. Since Jimmy left, the Heat have kind of been doomed to be in the play-in invitational with their fellow red teams and like the Hawks and Raptors and Bulls and whatever, and so. Now, looking forward, they have something to be excited about. They did have to gut a lot of their roster, which I usually tend to immediately respond by saying, like, that's a risk, because I agree that you can't no good team in the NBA is super top heavy. Like, it doesn't work in the playoffs, and that's been demonstrated time and time again in the last decade as the game has evolved. And yet, with all of that said, this does make the Heat better. This probably elevates them from like tier 3 to tier 2, like you said. Maybe the bottom of tier 1. My question to you was going to be like, can you even use the word contender for this Heat team? Or are they more of a contender of being a contender? Are they like,
I think
maybe
that's much more accurate. Like, again, if we're going to, I think contender is like an arbitrary rule. Has to be a team that is firmly top 4 in that conference, which means
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, maybe top 5 if we're in one of those years where like the West is like overpowered, like a few years back, where everyone is like there's like no clear definitive number 1. It feels like now we're starting to get closer to a hierarchy, right? Like there's no one, like no matter what happens, the 1 and 2 in the West should be the Spurs and the Thunder. And you can make an argument for Denver, and you can make an argument for Minnesota, maybe even LA, both LAs, with the unction. But I think that's where it has to be. And again, Detroit, no. Boston, no. New York, definitely not. Cleveland, probably not. And so then it's like, okay,
Indiana, probably not.
Indiana, probably not. And
I'm gonna put the Orlando. I think Orlando will have a better regular season than the Heat because of the coaching change mostly. So
I agree, and I also think that it wouldn't be crazy to put even if Embiid is not on the floor. Actually, especially if he's not on the floor, Maxey and Edgecombe have proved to be prolific together, and they're both getting better. I mean, Edgecombe was a rookie,
and I know you didn't follow the draft too much, but they drafted around like 21st or 2nd LeBaron Philon, who is one of the top point guard prospects, who's coming in right to fill in the Jared McCain role, who they immediately sold to the Thunder. So they'll be good. Okay, back to the Heat though.
Right.
I agree with you that they're in the conversation, but they're not exactly there yet. I would say that contenders, on top of probably being top 4 in your conference, generally a rule of thumb is that you should be top 10 in offense and top 10 in defense. And that usually means you're good enough to win a championship. Not strictly, I'm sure if you were 12th and 1st in the 2 categories, you could be good enough. Like, for example, I believe it was the Nuggets in 2023 that had a bottom half defense, but the offense with Jokic was just way too good that even the Heat in that finals couldn't beat them. And so this Heat team should have a top 5 defense, like maybe top 3 defense, like Giannis, Bam, Davion Mitchell. That covers every position. And I mean, Giannis and Bam already can guard every position, but with the Heat culture and Eric Spoelstra, we know that this Heat team has the mentality and energy and culture and coaching to be an excellent defense. It's just the offense, and I mentioned the shooting is the biggest discrepancy, I suppose, right now, but we'll have to find out what changes they make, because as I said, right now, this team clearly can't even win the East, but they can have an interesting regular season, and I think that now Miami is a more attractive destination for other players. And I should also note that we've always recognized the Heat as having the best player development system in the entire NBA, because they always produce guys who I've literally hated with every fiber of my being because of the Celtics Heat series. But
I'll put them number 2. I think that the Spurs are still there. You can't dethrone Timmy and Wemby.
That's fair. Although I would a little bit say that the Spurs have had a lot of lottery luck that helps them get there.
That's true.
But the Heat, they take guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and Duncan Robinson, Hero, who was a first-round pick.
Who was the guy? Was Mario Chalmers grown from Miami? Was he or was
I don't know if he was drafted by the Heat,
because he was great.
He fits into. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember. It was Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, and who's the third guy that really annoyed me? I'll look him up. But they for years they've always had draft steals that have been crazy, and they've always made them so great. And so if I were a Heat fan, I wouldn't be too worried about not having a great bench, because I just think that they're going to fill it out.
Yeah.
And I think that Giannis and Bam, as the 2 best players, are good enough to be the 2 best players on a championship team.
Absolutely.
You agree with that or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I'm just checking some numbers right now on their cap space. So they have about 18 million to fill in the first apron.
Caleb Martin was the other guy who I hated. All right, go ahead.
They have about 18 million in first apron space to fill their roster. And
Great.
They could also create some more space if they trade Nikola Jovic, which I don't think is a bad idea. I mean, I don't know that much, but what I was thinking was, if they need 3-point shooting, I just checked Nickeil Alexander-Walker's contract. His sign and trade from Minnesota is only $15 million a year, and that's a much more appealing location than Atlanta is right now. Like, if especially now they've missed out on Giannis, like if they're, I mean, again, I don't know what they would give to Atlanta that would actually make it appealing, but if
Yeah.
Atlanta lost the bidding war with Giannis, like what is Atlanta's future? And are they like, they're not going to blow it up, but like, is that an option with Trae being gone? I know they have Dyson Daniels and a pretty decent young core, but like, is it possible that we see Jovic and some money maybe, or a pick or two get shipped off to Atlanta to get someone that can fill that 3-point shooting role, which we know is necessary in this league to win?
NAW would be a perfect fit. I agree that Jovic actually didn't really get that many minutes towards a lot of random stints in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, I think there were games where he didn't play. Not that I know that he didn't make the playoffs this year. Sorry, but like Spoelstra has just at least demonstrated that he doesn't trust him in previous postseason and the regular season. So a guy like NAW would be a great fit. I don't think the Hawks are even taking that call because you mentioned his contract is so good. Like that's one of the most valuable things in the NBA nowadays. Yeah. But we can talk about the Hawks another day. I'm sure their direction, they're going to stay afloat and competitive, but they don't have like that one guy yet. Mm-hmm. Although they drafted Kingston Flemings, I believe, who I'm a big fan of, and so hopefully he's their point guard of the future. But back to the Heat, I think they should look at free agents mostly because they had to use so many picks in this trade, and so just exploring the market. We can talk about the options when the free agency information becomes more available soon. But they just need to be active, and I don't know. I think that's most of what I have about the Heat. Do you have anything else, or do you want to talk about the Bucks?
Last thing on the Heat. What if I'm just looking through like the top free agents right now, just to think about what the construction of this roster would look like, and Rui,
Nope.
No, Zach LaVine, no. Nope. I don't think they would have to push past second Abram to do that. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't know. That's going to be a question that they're going to have to figure out, and maybe that means that this window with Giannis is not. I don't think it's necessarily do or die right now. Like, do you think? I mean, I don't think we're at that stage where it's like they have to win next year and they have to go all in right this second. Like, Bam is young enough. No. Giannis is still have a couple years, even though he's at like the tail end of when peak power forwards have their primes.
Giannis already peaked. That's just the truth. He is in his prime, but the best version of Giannis was when he won the MVPs 6 years ago and when he won the championship 5 years ago. And so he's still a top 4 player in the league, though, when healthy. I don't think that's a debate. But the when healthy thing is such a big part of this equation. And the reason why I didn't really want the Celtics to trade for him, unlike some of my Celtics fan friends, was because I was so nervous about that. And I think that putting all your eggs in one player basket who has demonstrated that he's not entirely available is very concerning. And so, but their window is not 1 year. I agree. It's not like when the Rockets traded for KD, it was like, you guys need to try to win the title right now. You need to try very hard because KD is not going to be around for longer. And KD was 37, I think, like last season. But Giannis is 31, I believe. And so it's like probably about 3 good years if he can play 70 games a season and if you have him for like 90% of the playoffs. But it's very significant ifs. So don't expect them to be like in contention this year. I just don't. If I were y'all, but they'll be knocking on the door. They should be at least. But if you were to say right now, will Giannis win a ring on the Heat? I assume your answer will be the same as me in that he won't.
You already said no.
I'm sorry.
I don't think so. Okay. No. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, there's not no way.
Yeah, there is a way, and the NBA changes so much every year. But like, come on,
it would have to involve Cade getting injured, one of the Jays getting injured, Brunson dying in the New York celebrations, Evan Mobley losing function of his right limb, and them acquiring Steph Curry.
Okay, seems realistic. Yeah,
Right.
put it in 2K. We'll see how it goes.
Analytical finals are here.
Okay, great. So let's talk about the Bucks. Before we're talking about the package, let's just do a little reflection. I remember having this conversation with you a year ago. During the Wave and Stretch.
Oh, how
podcast,
could I forget that episode, Ramsey?
Which is an all-timer.
Yeah.
And in that podcast, when we were talking about what the Bucks were up to, trying to extend the Giannis window by getting Miles Turner, I think we all agreed that this was a bad idea, and that trading Dame isn't a bad idea if he's injured, but paying Miles Turner a bunch of money and pretending like you're going to be anything interesting is just stupid, because it just handicaps your franchise when Giannis had more trade value a year ago than he does now.
Right.
Because he didn't play that many games.
That's another thing. I don't know what they are. I'm not going to curse on this podcast. I'm going to try my best not to. But I don't know what the Milwaukee Bucks are doing.
Right.
It's obvious that his window was last year.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, let's rewind 5 years. The Bucks win the championship. Perfect. Giannis accomplished everything that Bucks fans could ever want him to.
Right.
You can want a person to win multiple championships. It doesn't matter if you win one.
It's the same
so
as
much
the
better
Knicks
than winning
now.
0.
You can rest fine for 53 more years.
The weight off your shoulder is so immense. I mean, I felt that when the Celtics won, and now we'll get to the Celtics very shortly. But if they don't win with this core ever again, I'll be okay. I'll be sad, but at least I got to see it happen.
Right.
Unlike, for example, if the Pacers don't win, the regret from last year is going to carry Pacers fans' hearts for so long.
Right.
And the Heat, for example, didn't win with Jimmy Butler, even though they got very close. But okay, anyway, back to the Bucks. Trading for Dame, I believe 2 years in 2023 after 2021 championship, was a great idea. At the time. That was awesome. Dame and Giannis sounded like an incredible fit. And then, as I discussed last year, over the years of them making the playoffs, they didn't win a single playoff series. And they were just straight up, I don't know, terrible in the playoffs. But again, in the regular season, they were great. But we literally never even got to see a fully realized version of that team. And then they had to move off of Dame. But even during those end of Dame time, and then last year with Giannis, it was clear the best thing to do is trade Giannis. And so I've seen some other people use these words. Given the circumstances, if you were to start a week ago in the Bucks' shoes, they pretty much got the best offer they could. And they got a great offer. They got multiple young players and picks. But using some hindsight and going back about a year, the package that they could have received from at least 10 teams in the league would have probably beaten this one.
Right.
Beat this one and contained a true young blue chipper who you could focus your franchise around.
Right.
Like the Paul George for Shea trade many years ago, right? And this doesn't have that. But anyway,
we even saw Giannis to Golden State, and that would have been again, I don't know if that actually would have happened. I don't know what Golden State could have actually realistically sent to make it worth it besides picks. I don't know which young player. I think this is before the Kuminga trade, or maybe it was after.
It must have been, but it would have been Kuminga and pods and whatever. So I don't know.
Well, so then that would have been great. but and then that's also that would have put if we go back a year right now, Ramsey, and we say, okay, we send pods, Kuminga, and every pick that the Warriors have, right? I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. For Giannis and of course Bobby Portis, right? That puts the Warriors into contention firmly.
Yeah, and there are other teams that with Giannis would definitely be farther along the path than the Heat are right now.
Right.
I would say the Rockets, who went after KD knowing that Giannis wasn't available, but if they instead focused on Giannis, and so they traded Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, and then they throw in a Şengün, probably not Amen Thompson, but Jabari Smith or something, and picks. Giannis could be on that team, and we could be having a different conversation. But a lot of the packages were gone. A lot of the young players have already moved around. And so the Bucks didn't get as good of an offer as they could have received, and that's because they waited too long.
Yeah.
And this is a testament to like selling high, which I think the Hornets didn't do. They sold a little early, but yeah, Anyway, okay, so let's talk about what the Bucks received. As I stated, Tyler Hero, Kaspar Siakachonis, Jaime Jaquez, Kelly Ware, Tyler Hero's around the time that players at their best, but everyone else is a solid, strong, young Heat rotation player.
They're all serviceable, for sure.
All very serviceable. None of them are a face of a franchise quality, but all of them will make the team competitive enough. And there's a little bit of honor. We've talked about this before. There is honor in not just being downright garbage, in trying to put forward a decent team for your fans who want to pay their hard-earned money to watch you guys from the stands. And now that the lottery rules have changed, remember the bottom 3 teams actually get worse lottery odds than like 4th through 10th or something like that. And so the Bucks are almost definitely, as it is, going to be in that 4 through 10 slot, like a little bit competitive, but not sniffing the playoffs. And so if I were them, I think that they're set up well for the future. And so you had mentioned during the break, how do you evaluate this current state of the Bucks versus the state of the Hornets, which we just discussed?
Just like, again, I don't want to. This is like, I think this is a little different than the Hornets because the Hornets have not won in, I don't know how long.
No,
ever,
they haven't.
Ever.
They've
Okay,
never won a title.
So there is that hot seat nature thing then for their management, because now that's a even more pressing concern. You just got rid of the guy who, for all intents and purposes, has been the most franchise cornerstone guy like since Kemba, and I'd argue that he was more of that than Kemba was. But so because the Bucks have won in the past 5 years, it's not quite as dire. But I do think that this puts them in that tier 3 of like not competitive, but also not really tanking either. They're kind of in that weird zone of like, this team's going to have like Tyler Hero drop 40, and then like their record is going to be 38 and 44 or whatever the case may be. Like, and I think that's like not a great place to be as a franchise, but I do think that that usually sets up like the next generation of players with draft picks and drafting well. And as long as the management does that, then we could see an improvement. Like, I feel like that's kind of where OKC was for a couple of years as Shea developed, maybe before he was traded, or maybe a little bit after as well, as they were assembling the Avengers. Like, that was kind of the zone they were in.
Right. It took years of being bad and Shea improving. That's when they drafted Dort, and so the two of them were together for, actually he was undrafted, but they were together for a long time, and then they got J-Dub and Chet. So
Right. So there's potential here, and as they draft, maybe we start to see in the next couple of years Tyler Hero move into the UNC, veteran role, truly veteran, where he's helping out the young guys on the Bucks. Maybe Jaime becomes a starter. I'm sure he will start. And Kuz and Miles Turner. Like, this is not completely bad, but
no. Like, I saw somebody that I saw posted made me mad. Like, it was like a starting lineup projected of like, Hero, Portis, Turner, Jaquez, and Ware. And somebody was like, this is one of those lineups that you say like, oh, you're a real fan if you saw this lineup, like when they're like later contending. And I strongly disagree with that, because those memes are way funnier when it's like a Pacers starting lineup this past year in like February, when none of their like top 8 players are playing, and it's just guys you've never heard of from the G League. Like, this team is full of players that are recognizable, including Portis and Turner and Hero especially, who have been in the league for a while. And like, this is not a awful trash team. They also clearly are tanking, and they should be. Although I was going to mention, though, I actually wouldn't be surprised if Hero didn't stay. Given the Wisconsin connection, I think it's certainly possible he plays this season in Milwaukee, but I think that his skill set is demanded, like, a a high-level scoring guard who's probably best as like a second option by teams like I'm sure you would agree that the fit on the Pistons for him would be
Oh,
really
it would be
exciting.
so great. That's
It
what
would be
Cade needs.
Yeah, that's what Cade needs. It's funny because they actually already have Duncan Robinson, his
Oh,
teammate. And
I was about to say the same. They could be reunited.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they could be reunited. And I've seen that trade like mocked so many times. So if I were the Bucks, I would probably try to trade Hero at least during the season, and I also would probably move off of Turner. But everyone else they should
if
keep.
they can dump like Hero to Detroit and get some of the stuff that Detroit has, that makes in turn this Giannis trade go from like, I don't know what I would grade this for Milwaukee, maybe like a B- or something like that, like somewhere around C+, B- territory. That like
Sure.
the ripple effect of that, if they are able to get a couple first rounders for Tyler Hero and then maybe like a young player off of Detroit, I don't know who it would be, that like makes this like by like almost like a cousin once removed. Like that makes this trade once removed like a solid B+. Like that makes good.
That would make Giannis in total worth like 6 or 7 first round picks, and that would be very exciting. And there are teams who would give multiple picks for Tyler Hero. I know that for a fact. So, anyway, there is honor in being a Bucks fan. I should mention that with the 13th pick, which they received from Milwaukee, or actually, I think it might have been the 10th. I don't remember, but they had the 10th and 13th picks. They drafted Braden Burries from Arizona, I think, and Nate Ament, and he was from Tennessee. I know that. Burries is from Arizona. Okay, good. I wasn't tripping. Ament is like an upside pick. Some people are a bit down on him, or a little bit worried about how he'll play in the league, but I think that it's a good swing to take at that position. And then Braden Burries is a very high IQ, competent player. I would have much rather seen him get drafted by a team that needs him more urgently, like at the 9th pick. Dallas drafted, because they just hired the Michigan coach, they drafted a Michigan player, Marez Johnson, who is good. But Burries went 10th, and I thought that the Burries and Cooper flag fit would have been very exciting. So now Burries and Ament have a much more responsibility to like help lead this new direction for the Bucks, who are a little bit aimless as it is. But I won't get into the details. I don't know a whole lot about those guys. So that's pretty much it, I think. Anything else on the Bucks and Heat?
I think we're good. I think that if we had to give a winner for this trade, I think probably we'd lean towards the Heat, because at the end of the day, like, being a contender for a championship is better than not being a contender for a championship. But like, you ask me that in 3 years when the Heat haven't won anything, Giannis is like scoring like 19 a game instead of whatever 30 something he's doing now, and I'm gonna say the Bucks are in a much better spot. So
yeah, I think it was a win-win. I would lean a little bit in the Bucks' favor just because like it was a pretty good package, but they probably both got like some sort of B. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely in the B territory for both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Boston.
This whole Giannis trade saga has had a very significant ripple effect on my Boston Celtics, because the entire time Giannis demonstrated he was interested in both Miami and Boston. Which, by the way, is funny because the trio of those 3 teams have ran into each other in the playoffs so many times. Like Bucks Celtics, iconic series.
Yeah.
Bucks Heat, iconic first round and like conference finals. And Celtics Heat, I know like I can name at least 3 examples, including the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals. But so it was a little strange that Giannis decided
his 3-pointer. Bang!
All right, I went a little far back there, but it's a little strange that Giannis decided I want to go to one of these 2 like of my rivals. But anyway, a lot of Celtics fans were hoping we could get Giannis for like Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, and I was like, yeah, that's really funny. It's gonna have to be Jaylen Brown, who was this past season an All-NBA second team. He led the Celtics, just straight up led them without Jason Tatum, to 56 wins in a year that was going to be our gap year, where I probably projected us as like the 8th seed, right?
Right.
And they were beyond my wildest expectations, despite not even having like a competent center. I love you, Kata. I'm just saying, like, let's be realistic. And after giving up Drew Holiday and Porzingis and moving on from that, and Horford, and moving on from that championship group, the Celtics literally didn't move at all. And it was because of Jaylen Brown and his rise. And I've described this in previous podcasts, how much better of a scorer he became, getting his shots at the spots that he enjoyed. Like, he's a great mid-range shooter. He became a much better 3-point scorer as opposed to his previous earlier years in his career. Better passer, much better defender, like significantly better defender. And yet throughout his entire career, he's been in trade rumors, because every time the Celtics, for example, I mentioned KD, but I think it was when KD was thinking about the Nets and ultimately went there, there was a lot of rumors about him coming to Boston for Jaylen Brown. And guess what? We made the right call. We kept Jaylen Brown, and we won a championship. And we would not have won that if we had Kevin Durant. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
But now, yet again, Jaylen Brown, the package likely would have been Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks. And by the way, healthy Giannis, better than Jaylen. But this season, Jaylen was just straight up better. And so when I heard that, I was like, wow. And picks? Like, I know I'm a biased fan because I know how much better.
No, you're actually not right now. This is one of the rare instances where you're not being a Celtics fan that's like,
thank you,
like biased. Because okay. Also, you said this very well when we're talking about the Heat. We always use the term "when healthy" to describe players like Giannis and injury-prone guys, as if that like negates the incredibly adverse effects of their health being a factor. Like, obviously, like when they're healthy. Okay, sure, great. But when they're not healthy, it's not like they're like playing at their medium. They're not playing. They're sitting out games. They're not having an impact at all. Like, it's not like there's like a middle ground where like Giannis is like hurt, so he's scoring 19 a game instead of 34 or whatever he averaged this year. Like, the adverse effects of that have to be taken into consideration. And I don't think Jaylen Brown has ever really missed significant time due to an injury.
He's been one of the most durable players on the Celtics and in the NBA. This past season, Giannis played 36 games and Jaylen played 71. It's an old saying, old adage, but availability is the best ability. I need a player who is going to play every game and be there the entire playoffs. And Jaylen had a fantastic year for us, and I love that guy to death. I've loved him since 2016. Even with the kind of off the rails stuff that he's been talking about on Twitch, some Celtics fans starting to doubt the guy or want to get rid of him. I still firmly believe in him and Jason Tatum, who returned in like almost a full form back in March. But yeah, apparently the trade package out there was Jaylen and 2 picks for Giannis, and it didn't go through. Maybe because the Bucks thought the Heat package was better, which I agree with. It was better, and if they traded for Jaylen, there's no way they would have kept him. Like, I don't understand where that puts them. That just puts them in your like high tier 3, for like no reason. Like,
right.
You guys should be like a tanking team, which they're gonna do now while being entertaining. And so Jaylen would probably have gotten shipped off. But the question is now, is the damage to the chemistry like just too much? Can it be undone? Can Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens convince Jaylen that he's still a cornerstone of this team with Jason, and you guys won a championship and you should be ready to run it back, and we'll make residual adjustments? Or is the move for the Celtics, the Jaylen and Jason Tatum and Brown regime has run its course. We successfully won a title. Let's keep Jason, who, when healthy, and I believe he will be healthy this season, he just had the one-off major injury, is better and is more of the face of our franchise. And we retool. We improve our depth, which was a problem a little bit for the Celtics. We continue developing our young players like Hugo, Baylor, and Jordan Walsh. And we just restructure our team a little bit to play the type of games that we saw the Thunder and Spurs and Knicks play in the playoffs, which the current Celtics aren't equipped for because our front court depth is really lacking and we don't have a lot of physical pieces.
Right. You've invested your resources in 2 top 10 players in the league, top 12 I'd say top 10. Top 10 players in the league. Maybe top 12 if you're being stretchy. Like, wavy and stretchy. When they're
paid the 4th and 7th highest paid players in the league.
So and they absolutely deserve every last cent of that money. Like they that good. But again, we've seen that the super team kind of assortment of really high paid players does not work. And
I agree.
And the Wemby experiment is Wemby as the focal point. And you can throw contracts out the window just from a pure skill perspective. As of right now, it's clearly Wemby, and then it's Harper, Castle, Vassell somewhere around here, Keldon Johnson, Penny. They're all here, and their guy is here. Same thing with the Thunder. Shea is here. J-Dub is here. McCain, based on how he played in the playoffs, is somewhere around here as well. Lou Dort's around here. Hartenstein. Chet's like below. You can't even see him on my screen.
Okay, bro.
but there's like levels to
I understand. This. Yeah, and the contract
I know
thing
it's
is scary.
Cliche, but yeah.
The biggest thing was Jaylen said on Twitch that this was his favorite year of his career. What do you mean by that, Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
You won a championship and you were Finals MVP. What more could you possibly want? Right. It's very obvious that he had so much fun running his own team because that was what was different about this year. Jason was not there. And even though I've always tried my hardest to convince people that Tatum and Brown have a good relationship, and they might at the end of the day just be coworkers, like they respect each other for sure, and they do play well together. There's no doubt about that. People have tried to break them up, like Kendrick Perkins. There's a famous clip of him like begging the Celtics to trade and split up the Jays. And I'm so grateful for the championship that we won with the two of them. And I would absolutely love nothing more than for both of them to be retired. I think both their jerseys will get retired regardless. But it might just be over, in terms of Jaylen and the culture. And maybe he should be the leader of a team. And maybe that could help the Celtics be a net positive.
Where do you see Jaylen going? Because I'm in agreement with you. I don't think that there is a way to salvage this. Like, the things that Jaylen has said have the too great of an effect to make this thing work. And again, we know that the recipe for success in the past few years, it's not the same for New York. Obviously, like Brunson and Cat are both of the same tier of basketball player. Maybe you put one over the other in specific ways. And obviously, like, my heart would go to Brunson first, like as like the number one guy on your team. But the rest of the Knicks is constructed in a way where everyone else is at that nice second level that can play super well and do all the grunt things that Jalen Brunson and Cat don't have to do. And again, Brunson got that contract or is on that team because he took quite a big pay cut for what he deserves. Like, for all intents and purposes, this usually would not work in the NBA because most people demand a higher contract for that level of skill.
Okay.
But I think the Jays have run their course. Where do you see Jaylen Brown going?
I'm glad you asked. If you could pull out your phone, I will now text you. I made a lot of mock trades in the last few days, panicking that Jaylen will be traded soon. And by the way, with the LaMelo trade happening out of the blue, I think it's very possible that Jaylen gets traded in the next week, and we can do an emergency pod on that. So I'm going to send you some of my fake trades, and we can rank them. I want you to just evaluate them in the totality of the trade, like how it benefits both teams and if it like makes sense.
Okay.
Not just from the Celtics or the opposing perspective. So there's the first one. How realistic do you think this haul is for Jaylen? I really like what we have here. It's just to the Spurs for Keldon Johnson and some other players, but do you like how that looks? By the way, the listeners cannot see this.
Yeah, I love it. They don't need that French guy. The Glock 40 and Prada bag shot listener, just kind of irrelevant. First round picks, don't need that. And the player with the top 5 in the NBA peak, nothing. Yeah, that's a great trade with me.
Yeah, by the way, listeners, it was Keldon Johnson, Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and 3 picks with the swap. And by the way, I love Fanspo, but you know that this website got to be messed up somehow when it says that the Celtics get 1 win better with that trade and the Spurs get 1 win worse. Like their entire roster isn't gone.
Devin Vassell's number 1 scorer on the team now. Oh no, sorry, it's Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you make Jaylen Brown the number 1 option in San Antonio. But okay, I'm not gonna have you rank that. Okay, here's the first legit one: Jaylen Brown to the Atlanta Hawks. And there are actually many different ways that they can piece these contracts together. But I have NAW in this trade, who you mentioned, as well as Onyeka Okongwu, Corey Kispert. I don't think Mo Gay needs to be in it. And then a couple picks.
This is the team that I had pulled up on my computer. You can't see it right now, but my second monitor has the Atlanta Hawks depth chart up right now. For that exact, and I was trying to think, okay, like, what do the Celtics need? They need a big man, but they also need another scoring wing, someone that can get some momentum going. But again, having the 3-point shooting is a cornerstone and was a cornerstone of the Celtics, winning. And that creates what I'm talking about with having the one guy who does it all as your number 1 person, and then you fill out the depth in every other way. And this also works for Atlanta, because now not only do they move into a win now situation, the rest of their roster is still pretty freaking good. Like
Jalen Johnson was an all-star,
right?
All-NBA. He was 3rd-team All-NBA, and
Dyson Daniels is like a steals top, somewhere in the top for steals, right?
Last season he led the league in steals.
Right.
This season probably top 10. And then they have CJ McCollum, and they just drafted the new point guard of the future, Kingston Flemings. And so, and I think and they have Kuminga. Am I right?
They have Kuminga. They have Gabe Vincent. They have Corey Kispert. Obviously, with Jalen in there, you would just probably swap him directly with Nikhil as the shooting guard and leave Dyson and Jalen Johnson. And then who would the next center be? That might have to be like an experiment to figure that out.
Yeah, that would kind of be the question, because both the Hawks and the Celtics need more size. Onyeka himself isn't that tall. I think he's like 6'9". But he plays up in size, kind of like Robert Williams, for example, But
talk about an enforcer.
Yeah, exactly. He would be Onyeka would be great on the Celtics, and so would NAW. So I actually thought that this was kind of a win-win. Do you like this?
Yeah.
This might end up being first, fair warning, but
yeah, and honestly, I think well, again, we have to look at the rest of these, but in terms of a desirable destination for someone to lead a team with young guys, like I can't think of a better situation for Jaylen Brown to be walking into. The only one that would actually be like something close to this would maybe have been Charlotte before LaMelo got traded, because he could have become he kind of fits the role that Ant is now going to fit as the number 1 guy with LaMelo supporting him. But again, the Hornets decided, I mean, I don't know if that would have been that appealing, and Charlotte's not exactly the same market as Atlanta. So
Jaylen, by the way, born and raised in Georgia. I think he would love playing for his hometown team.
Yeah, beautiful. What a hometown story. Okay,
so I had a trade for the Timberwolves, but it doesn't make sense at all anymore, because they do not want LaMelo, Ant, and Jaylen Brown on their team. Can
I guess who it would have been?
It was for 2 players and a pick.
Okay, I would have probably said Naz Reid, or one of 2 of these 3. McDaniels, Julius Randle. No, maybe
this was after the Randle thing.
Oh, okay. McDaniels, Naz Reid, or Gobert.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it was for McDaniels and Gobert, because
that would have been great.
Because I thought that I genuinely thought the Timberwolves were too attached to Naz Reid, and now he's gone. And clearly they're not giving up Gobert and McDaniels because they're.
I'm not gonna lie, we could have done. You know those conversations that we've had where we've talked about who's the most untouchable in the league. Nas could have been in that conversation. That was like the same level of shot, like you said, the Marcus Smart thing. Like that'd be like if Draymond got traded.
Yeah, it's
not quite, but
not necessarily like actual value to the team, but like value to the franchise, and the fandom. Okay, so I'm not gonna have you rank that because I think the Timberwolves thing is out the window.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll send you one now that I actually don't really love, but it does technically work financially. It's basically Jaylen Brown for Jamal Murray, and that's kind of it. The Nuggets might also attach Zeke, Najee, and a pick.
This one will not work.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think it obviously makes the Nuggets better. It's just to lose for the Celtics. Like it's not. It doesn't move me.
And also, we got to think about the Jaylen Brown antics. Like, if his whole thing is that his favorite season was not when they won a championship, but when he had his chance to lead the team. How's he gonna feel when a player better than Jason Tatum, who doesn't actually care about winning, is playing? And no,
he I'm sure he would like Jokic, but I don't know if they would actually mesh very well. But
no.
Okay, this next one I'm actually interested in. It's Jaylen Brown for Kawhi Leonard. It would basically be Jaylen for Kawhi, Brook Lopez, and a pick.
You have wow. Okay, because now so then what does I'm just gonna look up the Clippers depth chart right now just to kind of see what that would look like in that situation. But like that's good. Like Darius Garland is like a great supporting point guard.
It's Darius Garland, Keaton Wagler, who's a point guard, a shooting guard. He's like a combo guard. And then Jaylen is the face of your franchise going forward. I think NBA players love playing in LA, like either Clippers or Lakers. It's generally a attractive destination.
Derek Jones, some threats.
Derek Jones would be great. Like the 4 and 5 is like not exciting. They do have a exciting young center who you might see there, Niedenhauser, who is a end of the first round pick who played some great games in the regular season, but we haven't seen a lot of. It would basically just be like, okay, Jaylen, this is your team.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't like it from the Celtics perspective is Kawhi's old, and he currently has only 1 year left on his deal. And also, that dude might go to jail for aspiration. Nobody knows. Like, I don't want to trade for that guy.
Yeah, and Brook is also getting up there in age. I mean, he's not, again, the Celtics did win with someone older than Brook in Al Horford, I think, or at least the same age. So
No, you're right, yeah.
So it's not completely terrible. And also, I like the bench. I like Chris Dunn, I like Mathurin, and I like John Collins a lot. I think that the most appealing would definitely be the Atlanta one from the Celtics perspective. I almost wonder, like, if you were Jaylen Brown, where would you rather go? Like the Atlanta one, there's already some pieces there, but it's like, and the center issue is like still there. And I guess that's the same problem here, but this is like kind of cool.
Yeah, if I were Jaylen, I would rather play for the Clippers in that situation.
Yeah.
Even though the Clippers will be worse next year, but it'd be like, okay, I got this, guys. So,
right.
But I don't. As I said, if we're trading Jaylen, I think the Celtics should pick up multiple rotation pieces, and Brook Lopez, I'm sure, could play,
and some picks,
and Lopez could play, but it's really would just be Kawhi. And I think just trading for a player of the same position who's significantly older, not historically worth it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, let's go through a couple more. I just sent you a trade to the Pelicans. So there's actually a lot of options for how the Pelicans could piece together these contracts. The way I did it was Jordan Poole's expiring contract, who I actually think would love playing for the Celtics and shooting every three in the world. Sadiq Bey, who is paid well, or underpaid a little bit, so he's valuable. Trey Murphy, and he's the focus of this trade, and I think Trey would fit excellently on the Celtics as one of the best shooters in the NBA.
This looks like a Celtics fan trade.
Oh, it's not fair,
dude.
Look, okay.
What is Jaylen Brown gonna do in New Orleans, bro?
First of all, I saw another version of this trade for Zion, and that made me throw up in my mouth. I'm like, in what world does that make them better? Second of all, Jaylen, if he genuinely wants to lead a team, go play on a bad team. See if I care. Like you can run that team to the ground.
Yeah. Again, Celtics fan fantasy.
Absolutely. No, I mean
now we're being honest. Okay.
And picks. I mean, this just completely destroys the Pelicans' future.
For reference, everybody, this has the Pelicans sending the next 3 first-round picks to the Celtics, in addition to 3 players that are all serviceable and would make the Celtics go into like the high 50s, like 60-win territory for sure.
Awesome. So better. Better overall or worse than the Nuggets trade?
Terrible. Are you kidding me?
You like it less than the Jamal Murray trade? I thought it was okay.
Okay, again, Ramsey, this is like you're having Rajan syndrome right now, where you only look at the trade from one perspective, and you only look at what the team could get instead of looking at it has to be a trade. It's not a free agency.
Oh, okay.
There's if you really intend on telling me that the starting lineup for the Pelicans in this situation is DeJounte Murray, Jaylen Brown, Fears or Herbert Jones.
Herb Jones, probably, yeah.
Herb, Zion Williamson.
Yep, and Derek Queen. Yeah. That is a very strong 30 and 52 right there. How can you not be excited about this?
That's like the great value version of like the Nets from like 5 years ago, except like they're terrible.
Okay, I agree with you. That team would be bad. At best play in, but like it would just be the Pelicans saying, let's retool around Jaylen later. I don't know. Okay, fine.
When is this later though? Like how many years of like Jaylen Brown that we have?
If I like that puts the Pelicans nowhere near being a contender. And if you're not going to be a contender, you shouldn't be giving up first round picks, at least that many. And so I understand that I did that, and I do apologize to Pelicans fans. But yeah, I mean, a man can dream. I saw another mock trade that had DeJounte Murray in it. So it was like DeJounte and Trey Murphy. And I don't like DeJounte Murray, so I wouldn't do that if I were the Celtics. So that's why I didn't do it. And I don't like Zion. Speaking of which, I should mention the two honorable mentions of teams I didn't include. The Grizzlies. Because there's somehow, some way that we could trade Ja Morant for Jaylen Brown. And as I said with the Zion problem, I was like, in what world does that help either team?
Just wait till Ja goes to Minnesota.
Bro.
That team is facing hundreds of years of jail time.
And then the other honorable mention was the Blazers, who I've actually brought up before because I think they would be – Jaylen would love that team. But
we were talking about a three-way trade between them, Miami, or Boston?
Then Boston and Milwaukee because the Blazers have Bucks picks. But the contract situation is a little bit like meek, and I don't like. For example, Denny Avdia is one of the most underplayed players in the league. He's getting paid like $12 million or something. And him and Jaylen Brown fit is like a little bit questionable. But
not to mention the off-the-court stuff between both of them.
If I were the Blazers, like I wouldn't want to trade away like Donovan Clingan or Tumani Kamara or Avdia, or I would only consider trading like Shaedon Sharpe, and Scoot Henderson. And like, I don't want those guys if I'm the Celtics. So, whatever, we can move on.
Right.
But if he gets traded to the Blazers, I wouldn't be surprised. That's the one team I left out that I am considering. Okay. There's only two more. Next, we got the Cavs. It's a very simple concept. Evan Mobley.
Yep. Okay. Figured.
Right. And so Mobley, Sam Merrill, and a pick because Evan Mobley's value is a little bit in the tank. But you tell me, Rajan, is it Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden really a good
Actually,
fit?
That's more like the Brooklyn abomination than anything else. And part of it is because they have James Harden. What are you getting?
Yeah, exactly.
And also we gotta be honest here. Like Mobley is like I think this is we have a case of like really being disappointed in young players when they don't perform incredibly well in the playoffs in their first couple of series. Like Mobley's young enough that I think you got to give him a chance. Like I think the Cavs are better off with him than they are without him. Like because again, like Donovan Mitchell is a one guy, right? He's not someone that is going to be playing second fiddle. And Jaylen Brown is also one of those guys that doesn't like playing second fiddle when he's had to in the past.
Absolutely.
And James Harden is also not one of those guys that likes playing second fiddle.
And Harden is at the point in his career where he's a good enough playmaker to be the 2A or whatever.
Sure,
but
sure.
Jaylen Brown and Donovan Mitchell occupy the same space in my mind, ignoring my Celtics fandom. Like they're very similar players.
Yeah.
With D-Mitch being marginally better, I think. And this season, it was actually questionable. I defend Jaylen a lot.
I would
think
agree
he's a
with
better,
you on that one as well for the season.
He's a better defender, I think. And I mean, he won the championship, but whatever. Ignoring that, like Jaylen and D-Mitch should not be on the same team. Like, it doesn't make sense. So you could trade him for D-Mitch, but that doesn't make the Celtics better.
No.
It probably helps the Cavs like a little bit, but like I don't like it. So.
And also James Harden, the only reason I mean, obviously, yes, as he's gotten older in his career, his assist numbers have consistently gone up in his like time playing, you know, as his points have kind of come down from the peak of Houston. But we have to remember that even if the assists are going up numerically, or I guess I hate using this word with this team, analytically.
Oh yeah.
But James Harden
Congrats
was also
them, right. They won.
They
Game
did
7.
That's true.
Okay,
it's true.
Analytical finals. Congrats. Yep.
James Harden is like was notorious in this playoffs for like chucking up and taking terrible shots and like not playing as a team player at all. Like there was serious issues with that, and I don't think that gets resolved with another 1A guy. We don't need to say anymore.
I didn't look into this, but maybe Harden is the one that could be traded. But I think
you want that?
No. Because I firmly believe Harden will not get a ring, and I just think he's just going to curse whatever franchise he plays for. And so
we should send him to OKC. That'd be good.
Oh yeah, great idea. Reunion,
homecoming.
Yes. So do you like that more or less than the Jamal Murray one?
Oof.
If they're all bad, you don't really have to bother.
I mean, the Jamal Murray one isn't as bad. I just think that Harden's such a cancer that like it doesn't help Jaylen. If we're talking from Jaylen's perspective, because there's 3 avenues. One is the Cavs as an organization, one is Jaylen Brown, and one is the Celtics. And maybe you can argue that it's better for the Cavs than it is for the Nuggets, but it's not better for Jaylen Brown.
Agreed.
So.
Okay, and I saved a good one for last.
Okay.
This is a very, very trendy contender. I like this
a lot. Oh my God.
Celtics and Rockets.
Yep.
The Celtics get 2 good young players, Şengün and Jabari Smith.
They
and I actually was like, Şengün is a center, and Şengün is like not exactly a excellent defender. He's more of a playmaking center. I mean, he's been like baby Jokic forever. But Jabari Smith is great. And then I actually felt too bad about attaching a pick to that because like both those guys are good. And so I added a swap on the Celtics side. But maybe there are no picks, or maybe the Rockets actually do add like a pick. But I think that if this happens, I don't know if the Rockets keep KD because they probably aren't winning a championship. I did not put KD in this trade, by the way.
Yeah, but what if I
refuse?
No. He definitely could not go to Boston. But if there's a way you can trade KD to a different team, like what if you can offload him, like maybe even to something like Detroit, where like he has opportunity. That could work.
It has to be a team that's right on the fringe,
right?
And they don't have much to give up,
right? But like if you get him there, and your lineup is now Van Vliet, Amen. Jaylen would probably play the 3, but it could be interchangeable with Amen because Amen plays whatever he wants. I agree. Can because he's the defensive god. And then let's say you get rid of KD, and you let's say you do the Detroit, right? You probably get Duncan Robinson if you do that trade for KD. You get Duncan Robinson, someone else, and then some change, like some picks or whatever. And then
they could get young players.
Yeah. And then you still have Steven Adams as like your center, who is still serviceable. You have Dorian Finney-Smith. You have Tari Eason. Like that might be better overall for both teams than the Hawks thing.
Wow, really?
I really because
I think the Rockets are very trendy, and I think that the Celtics, if they want to trade Jaylen, they get multiple great players in return. This is good. I think that Şengün and Jabari are on the same timeline, probably a little bit like behind actually Tatum. And then you obviously I kind of agree from the Rockets' perspective. Like if I was a Rockets fan, I would feel a little bit bummed about giving up great young players. I believe that. Hold on, I have it pulled up. Were you gonna say something though about like your perspective on it, or do you think you
Just
mostly
that.
agree with me?
I guess the pop that pops into my head is that Houston's problem, and even with Durant, it wasn't really solved. Is that they don't have someone that's like consistently will generate buckets at the same like a high clip that's also physically able to like this is not Golden State Warriors Durant that we're talking about, right? So it's not like he has like the capability to really create. I mean, he can. It's KD. I'm not saying that, but like if they do this trade and Durant is the one that gets shipped, because I don't think it would work with him together. But if they do the trade with the Celtics and then they ship Durant to like Detroit, like as I said, that not only puts Duncan Robinson, Van Vliet, and maybe like Dorian Finney-Smith, Tyrese, and Amen Thompson as like the other guys that can fill out the rotation. That like puts the onus entirely on Jaylen and says, okay, you have to be the leading scorer every single night, and you do not have Jason Tatum to bail you out if you don't have it.
Amen is very good complementary next to Jaylen. He's not an offensive force at all, but he's one of the best defenders in the league. You got. By the way, this trade could involve Tari instead of Jabari Smith. That wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but
that might be better for depth reasons.
It could be, right? I had to look this up to confirm. The Rockets should be very, very excited because they have one of the best assets right now in the NBA. Next year in 2027, they own a swap with Brooklyn's first-round pick. And so like that could be extraordinary if that's like a top 5 player, right? And so if I were them, I would be thinking about that guy, that mystery dude. Because we're not gonna talk about the Nets. We're not gonna waste time. But like, come on, they suck. And so, you got that dude coming through the pipeline. You have Jaylen Brown. You have Amen Thompson. By the way, I should mention this because I thought of it. If KD gets traded to the Pistons, I know absolutely no world because he's in my opinion, the best point of attack defender in the NBA. But Asar Thompson getting traded to play with his brother would be kind of crazy, right?
Like him and Duncan. Oh my god, that makes the Rockets like the best defense in the league. Like
probably, but we should ignore that.
Wow,
because
you just got me really excited.
I know I did, but
I'm wearing my Rockets red right now.
And no universe do the Pistons trade Asar for KD, but Asar for like someone else. No, they don't really have anyone valuable.
But what you could you see Asar and Duncan? I could see that.
No, KD's too old. If I were the Pistons, like that would be putting all our chips in one basket, and the Pistons are pretty well equipped to compete for like 3-4 years, and so I wouldn't do it. But I like the idea, and I would love the Thompson twins to play together. But going back to what I said, Jaylen gets to have his own team, and I think that this makes the Celtics better. I think so. So, heck, if we get a healthy Steven Adams in the trade too, that would actually make me thrilled because we need a center like that, a good offensive rebounder. So
the Hartenstein project, something like that.
Where do you rank this against the Hawks one?
I'm not gonna lie, I like it more.
Okay. It seems like it might be more likely given the rumors I've seen.
I think it's probably more beneficial for both teams overall, but
Okay. So you and I have essentially concluded that I've looked at every team. Another honorable mention was the Mavericks, but like under no circumstances would I just like hurt their future with flag for Jaylen.
Wait, can I ask you something then? What the Houston versus Atlanta thing comes down to is, as a Celtics person, and I think you know better than most people on this, would you rather have Şengün or Okongwu?
What the Celtics need right now, even though I think Şengün is better, the Celtics need like not a Wemby stopper because Onyeka is not that good, but like just a better rebounder and somebody who operates much more in the paint. And Şengün likes to play a lot, like, at the elbow and whatnot. And he's a guy who can initiate offense if he receives the ball, and he's a pretty good passer. But we need more interior defense and rebounding and, activity in the dunker spot. I prefer Onyeka's fit on this team.
Then that automatically makes the Atlanta trade better, because at the end of the day, what the Celtics need is a center. So
yeah, that's what we need the most. By the way, we drafted Chris Sinak, who is 6'11", and has received Robert Williams comps. So if we can make ourselves another Time Lord, like a sub 7 foot, like hyper athletic center, he could be perfect too. And then in that case, maybe we don't need a Kongwu, but right now, I would be really excited about NAW and a Kongwu. That would make our team better. I think I'm 100% sure of it. So let's say those two and the Clippers are the Dagger's 3 favorite destinations for Jaylen. Okay, well, again, I love you, Jaylen. If you want to stay, feel free to stay. But if this is all for naught and it's too late, then just I hope they wrap it up. So
yeah,
I'll miss the guy though.
Yeah, I won't.
No, screw you, buddy. Okay, and then final topic: Trae Young contract. Trae Young denied his player option, and we were like, that's a bit surprising. But I guess he'll probably just sign a longer contract worth less money per year, but worth more total money. That I guess makes sense. Then he signed a contract for 4 years worth more money per year, completely startling all of us and the entire internet. He signed a contract for 4 years, $212 million, earning him on average $53 a year, making him one of the highest paid players in the NBA. You can check that for me, Rajan.
Yeah,
but
he's number 20 right now.
Great.
As it stands.
Number 20.
So
he is probably the maybe 50th best player in the NBA.
Well, how about this? I'm going to read you some names, and I want you to say better or worse.
Who's better or worse?
The player I'm naming.
Oh, okay.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Better.
Zach LaVine.
Probably worse.
Pascal Siakam.
Better.
Tyrese Halliburton, when healthy.
Yeah, better.
Anthony Edwards.
All right, bro. Next.
Lauri Markkanen. Although that one's maybe debatable, but still.
Yeah, I still better for sure, I think. But
Domantas Sabonis.
A little closer. Better. He's more impactful right now.
Kevin freaking Durant.
Wow. Yeah, better.
OG Anunoby.
Much better for sure.
James Harden. This one I could see going either way.
Maybe looking ahead in 2 years,
right,
I would rather have Trae.
Right now,
I would rather have Trae in 2 years, but I would rather have Harden now.
Let's stick to right now then. Darius Garland.
Maybe debatable because Trae is a very good playmaker and a great part of the Hawks offense. It was all him, but I'll actually lean Trae, but it's kind of close, and I'm not mad at Clippers fans.
Okay, this one you're gonna laugh at. Zion.
That's not even worth talking. Where do I even start? I'll go. Healthy Zion is so much better than Trae now, but I'll go with Trae just because at least we get to see him.
Ja.
I'd rather have Trae on my team.
Okay, I agree. Okay, now here's some that you're gonna lose your mind at. Scotty Barnes.
No, Scotty by far.
Right. Franz Wagner.
Franz.
Austin Reeves.
Reeves for sure.
Chet.
And Reeves got a contract too. We won't talk about it, but he got his bag. Good luck to him and Luka and the Lakers. I know you don't want me to say Chet, but he's definitely much better than Trae.
I just love to hate on him.
Paolo, much better.
J-Dub.
Way better.
Michael shoots every shot contested. Porter Jr.
Right now, as it is, MPJ is better. but they both have their injury problems.
Oh, don't worry, it gets worse. Shea.
We just now got to Shea. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
As it stands, this will be the last year of his last contract, so he's making 40.8 this next coming year, and then he signed the extension that'll give him like almost 70 a year on average.
Okay, well, that's deserved.
Yeah. But as it stands right now, he's not making more money than Trae. LaMelo Ball, we just got done talking about him.
Right. LaMelo and Shea were making about the same. And LaMelo's much better than Trae right now.
I'm going to stop in a couple of players. I'm going to skip around now. Maxey.
Well, Maxey's the league's better.
Jaylen Brunson.
That's the pay cut for you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
We're now entering Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, Mikal Bridges, Julius Randle territory.
Yeah, I got Bridges over him, and like maybe Holiday on the right day, but Trae's better than the other guys.
So the average of these players is between about 40 million and 30 million, 40 million. So
what rank is that?
In the 50s.
Okay, so that's how much Trae should be getting paid realistically.
Which is exactly what we said. We said he's around top 45, top 50.
I said I would have given him 3 years, 120 million. That's what I said. So there you go, 40 million a year.
And that puts him in the same territory as Maxey, LaMelo, Brandon Ingram, Kyrie, Desmond Bane. Like, okay, sure, maybe, whatever.
And sure, maybe that's like a tiny bit steep, but keep in mind, Trae is 27 years old. Like, he's going to start the season at 28. And so, like, this guy's not in his 30s. I mean, he has plenty of time to go. And he's clearly been a good player for the Hawks, like, year in and year out, and helped them keep them afloat. But, oh my goodness, dude. Like, that is so much money for the Washington Wizards to pay Trae.
For the starting lineup to look like Trae, Keyshawn George. I mean, I don't know. Is he?
Keyshawn is exciting. I like where he's going.
Obviously, Devonta, the number one pick, is going to be the starting small forward. Like, that's great. But then it's like AD, Alex Sarr, and you're spending over 50 a year on Trae Young.
Well, looking at that lineup, some people would say, hey, guess what? Except for AD, who I don't think should be on the team to start the season, this entire team is like super young. So we are only paying rookie contracts across like the entire roster. Might as well give it back. And there is a salary floor, like you do have to pay some amount. But it doesn't matter, dude. 4 years is a long time. And this contract, regardless of the team he's on, is still a terrible contract. And do you remember the whole Bradley Beal situation about how he had a no trade clause, but like the Wizards were like in jail because they could not get rid of him, and then they had to.
He didn't actually care about winning; he was just there.
Right. And again, when he got the contract, that wasn't as much of a crazy overpay, but like, when I look at this Wizards depth chart, I'm very excited about many of their young pieces, specifically, Keyshawn and Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson and Bub Carrington and Bilal Coulibaly. Justin Champagnie, Julian's brother, who's good, not as good as Julian, but we'll see. And Will Riley and Cam Whitmore. And on the fourth string, they have D'Angelo Russell. Oh my God, he's on the Wizards. Geez, somebody save it. And
can we do an episode where we stream us playing 2K and we do like Wizards versus like Kings or something like that?
That would be awesome.
Oh my God.
But again, I'm taking the Wizards like every day in this situation, and it's because now my last addition is AJ. And so here's the thing, like, you don't have to give him look, I think that they gave him that much money because there were some other team out there that was like a suitor that was willing to pay him exactly that much, and so they had to match it, and then he stayed. But you can answer first. If you had to pay him that, or the other option was he's gone, what are you doing if you're the Wizards?
He's gone!
Yeah, again, I completely agree. Like,
and also, can we just say something else? Sorry. What other team is going to offer him that much money? How out of your mind do you have to be to offer Trae Young $53 million a year on average?
It was probably some of the only teams with cap space were the Nets. Not surprising. I mean, yeah, sure. The Bulls, even though the front office is genuinely idiots, I don't think they would have done that. And the Lakers before Austin Reeves, because they gave all the money to him, but like they could have given it to Trae, and Reeves is much better. So, and Reeves is getting less money. So like, look, Trae actually, I do think like I'm confident that he will help the younger players like get better faster, and I think he'll be beneficial to their improvement. And I think that he is actually a great playmaker. But I also think that he's not worth this much money, and I think that in 2 years we're going to be talking about how tricky this situation is with them wanting to sign Keyshawn and Sarr and other players to extensions, and them trying to they might have to trade Trae or like attach picks to salary dump him because I just don't think that he's going to get better. I think he's already kind of reached his prime, and so rough decision from the Wizards. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I think this is I mean, it'll be exciting to watch if AD somehow strings some games together where he's not, injured, and Bonza starts playing like out of his mind, great, and Trae is, distributing the ball. Maybe the Wizards are a play-in team. I don't know.
Honestly, I could see the Wizards being a play-in team.
I look at this, not doing that.
Like, will the Wizards this next year be better than the Hornets? Those are where they are. Like, AJ DeBanza might just be that good. I wouldn't be that shocked.
Yeah. I also wouldn't be shocked if they don't, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of close. They'll be better than the Nets, Bulls, and Bucks for sure. So that puts them at 12th.
Yep.
I don't know if I can go much higher than that.
Not for sure. I wouldn't put money on that.
Yeah, okay.
Especially because now you keep the 4 that are there right now. You add Indiana to that. You have to put Miami somewhere around there, although we agree Orlando above them, maybe Philly above them. So that puts the beginning of feasibility at number 9.
And the Hawks, I don't think are going to get worse. The Raptors aren't going to get worse.
Yeah, Scotty's great.
Yeah, he is. And that's just it.
Were there any feasible mock trades to Toronto for Jaylen Brown? I just thought about that. I don't know if it really would work because I don't know if the big man thing is
Maybe. They have a really big contract right now for Jakob Poeltl, who is not going to be a good fit on Boston. Right. So I don't want that. I actually think that the Raptors were a suitor for LaMelo. Like, it could have been Emmanuel Quickly and another contract and picks for LaMelo, and they just didn't get in on time. And he went to Minnesota, but I don't love Brandon Ingram. That would be who we get in return. Like Ingram plus something else, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Ingram's much worse than Jaylen. So
yeah.
By the way, can you remind me if you still have that website pulled up with the salaries per player, where Anthony Davis is in the top listing of highest paid players in the next season?
Boy, he is quite. I have not seen him yet.
He might be a little high. That's my hint.
Oh,
I think.
God. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about when you said that they're talking about a floor. They were already at the floor, basically, with the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Making more money. Do we want to go to the list again? Tatum, Antetokounmpo,
sure, give me a few.
Towns, Brown, Booker, Butler, Paul George, Bam, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Luka, Kawhi, D. Mitch, Cade, Evan Mobley, Jamal Murray, and then it's Trae, and then it's everybody else I just said.
It's because of the contract the Lakers gave him years ago. That's why Davis is making that money. I think it's fair to him.
And he has 2 more years of that contract.
2 years of $120 million going to that dude.
And then you're sitting on his ass playing 2K all day.
And then you go, how about 2 more for you? How about 4 more years for Trae Young?
4 more years?
Note that Steph Curry's contract ends this year. They probably have to do some extension talks, but he's the highest paid player in the NBA. He deserves it.
Obviously. Although I think as it stands right now, Tatum and they'll actually be only a little bit ahead, but obviously Shea, Booker, Tatum probably all be above that when they sign their things. I don't think Steph's going to get much more. I think this is probably the max Steph will ever get as a contract, right?
Yeah, he's not getting the max again.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the 2029 30 column on the right. Look, you can see how much Booker is making that year.
$75 million.
Which is the most. Like Shea also has a contract going out that far, and he's making 73.9. That guy has 2 MVPs.
Booker's done nothing. I mean, what one finals appearance?
Led a team to the finals, and they didn't get it done. They
botched a 2-0 lead, right?
That is what happened, yeah. But he's a little older, so that's why he has a bigger contract than Shea. All right. Any final thoughts about anything?
I think we've said what needs to be said through and through and through.
Yeah. We did a very long pod today. It was fun.
It felt good though. It felt like we really said what we needed to say.
Yeah, I think so. I think we had a lot of good back and forth, and it felt pretty natural, you know. So, yeah, thank you to any listeners who made it this far. Congratulations, you're a true Dagger fan.
And shout out Sav from the UK, who I know is probably tuning in right now, and if he is, he'll probably text me and tell me, yo, something, Arsenal just won. Congrats, bro. Yeah.
A little late for that. Shout out to him though. And yeah, it's we have more NBA news to talk about. We can in our podcast in the next I would say week or two. We'll break down any recent trades, free agency updates, highlights from the draft that we may have not talked about today. Again, we hit on AJ, we hit on the Bucks, and we hit on the Hawks, but we'll get to more details, and
then we'll get into some NFL soon too.
Start looking ahead at the NFL season, which will begin in August and September, and we'll do our preview pods and we can do our yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh wait, I didn't hear you right. You're making a Pajimski joke, weren't you?
Which I sure was.
I thought you were like, oh, let's do multiple pods. Yeah, plural. That sounds great.
Yeah,
okay, I'm an idiot.
The Dagger is going to use our incredible budget to fly pods out for an episode where we ask him why he's terrible.
Yeah, that sounds like a good use of taxpayer money. But
taxpayer money.
Thank you to those listening. I was about to say something. Oh yeah, we can do our pod right where we do the over unders for the NFL teams.
Oh, we have to do it. We have to do it this year.
So don't look if you see those numbers, don't scroll through them. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha, sir.
Save the guesses and thank you. Eddie's. Oh yes, Summer League NBA. We can talk about that a little bit in July. But all right, anything else, Rajan?
That's all for me.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have an excellent rest of your day or night. Thank you for listening.
You caught me before I was going to say it.
You're too predictable, bro.
All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.